send them back and forth. Yeah. Yeah, my mom has a yellow lab, and it's a it really makes it difficult for her to travel as much as she would like to. Like she wants to spend the winter in Tucson, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to drive down. I have to bring a dog. That
This camera.
I was wondering, like, if we sit at the table and then you just
Is everything photos? Do that.
Mm-hmm. And whatever. Otherwise, we'd all just sit. Like, out. Yeah. I can see how the day is because you got there's somebody over here.
He's an artist. Oh, you should show me. Yeah, soulful. Yeah, college just too. Oh, I have to find out about this like ridiculous jazz woman that comes through that saw live. Yeah. So, but I've heard her stuff and we're like, yeah. But I don't remember what he told me or anything.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm at a pretty loud cafe, so maybe I'll mute my microphone.
Okay.
But I'm here listening.
More?
All right.
What would be best?
It is all about you.
Oh, sure, okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Hi,
so
it's dark.
grainy.
It is grainy.
Need more light, huh?
Can we aim it down? Aim the lights down?
Wow. I'm just looking at the light and I'm like, I can't see anything. I have no idea what it looks like.
What if we turn it around so that our backs are away from
What if you
Look at the kitchen.
can you bring the standing light?
I could bring the little one in our bedroom.
Yeah, it's much better over there.
That camera is just garbage. I already set it up. I don't think I can redo it. Gosh, horrible look.
Okay. Oh, that's a little better. Yeah.
A little better?
Yeah, look, you can actually, yeah. Opening the window helps a lot.
Okay.
We still do it. I'm gonna put this right in your face.
Be interrogated.
Did that help like at all? Yeah.
A little.
Look at that.
Watch me chew.
So, I don't think we can all three of us.
Yeah.
This over.
Bring it in,
Alright.
folks. There you go.
Since no students have shown up,
All right.
like you.
So who's in singing group?
So Genevieve is in a noisy testing. Athenia is here too, but muted.
Hello. I unmuted it for a moment. I'm Genevieve.
Nice to meet you. I'm Tamara.
Nice to meet you. I'm from BUC,
Okay.
Bastyr, California. So I'm glad I could listen in.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And so Genevieve is one of the students taking the lead on establishing
Where is that at this point in terms of what have you been able to generate interest? Are you doing applications, or what's your process to get people together to form a chapter there?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you too well. You said what has been my process to get people together to form a chapter?
Yeah, and where are you at with that right now?
Yeah, so we have a pretty good group of students, mostly incoming second years. I am an incoming third year. So we're in a process of trying to get more of the upperclassmen to be more involved, just because we would have more roles in the clinic. But right now we're planning for the fall, and that's our main thing. And we're planning different like cultural competency meetings. We're doing meetings with the Spanish club to try to learn medical Spanish and practice doing physical exams and intakes, just like basic Spanish, as well as different documentaries and as well as fundraising events.
Nice. Is there
Yeah.
opportunities to collaborate with local clinics?
We are looking into those opportunities. There is one student in particular who is playing an active role in our chapter, who has experience working with clinics in Tijuana and Rosarito, which are a lot closer to our border. So we're trying to work on collaborating with them, just like working with their organization at first.
That's really awesome.
So.
I'm so proud of her. So I'll get you okay? This stuff's expensive. I don't know my books, but I like every day I feel like I'm working on something. And it was affordable. I mean, it's a really cool stone, you know. So I feel like I probably would have paid that for it, but I just really want to keep working. Friend, her design. I know, but yeah. I don't understand.
Sorry, the service is a little choppy.
All right, good.
You finish all your recording? To
February.
just talking or do you want to just this one smells great too. It's just like where? Good job. I go like I know that's what I decided I was gonna do the rest of this. Okay. But I know that what it's gonna do is make people no, actually it'll make you feel better. It does?
2004.
Oh, to me it is. I don't like that it's presenting like female anatomy.
Not so much I think that
It should always be
from the beginning. I just wasn't sure. Changing the name helped to kind of solidify that. But that was really our vision, was to cross borders and be able to provide services in different places. And we started doing a lot more community outreach, like with the Hamilton Elementary School, which is, we have a school clinic there providing naturopathic services, and it's a very high population of Spanish speaking, a lot of undocumented families. And we did like we participated in a health fair, and we had a whole table on herbs that people could touch and smell and taste, teas and salves and stuff like that. And we did I think a separate community outreach event there. We did like some presentations on getting ready for the cold and flu season, and we handed out little kits that had like echinacea, natural lozenges, and information on how to do like a steam bath, steam inhalation, things like that. And then at the same time, Chris Ogilvy was getting started with that youth juvenile detention center.
Education.
Yes, that's better than the word that I had in my mind for it.
The Southeast facility.
Yeah. So we were doing more local outreach to the end of just having people become more aware of naturopathic medicine and kind of the medically underserved in particular, since we know that a lot of our naturopathic patients tend to be higher income because they're the ones that can afford to pay cash for our services. And at the same time, naturopathic medicine and natural healing modalities is really in line with a lot of the populations that right now can't afford our services. Like here in Arizona, Native American population or the Hispanic population, I think a lot of our modalities go back to their own healing traditions and really fit in line with some of their own roots. So it was exciting when we started going to Rocky Point, and that was in 2006. So that's pretty much the background. I started getting back in touch with Sean last fall when we had the 10-year anniversary thing. Which was, when there's like a passage of time and like an anniversary, and you're like, oh my God, it's been 10 years. Like what now? So I've been thinking a lot about a chapter in Puerto Rico, and talked to Sean, and he has been thinking the same thing. And so part of what I really want to focus on in the brainstorming today is to figure out what has helped to create chapters and keep them together and keep them functioning cohesively, keep students engaged despite the passage of time and the fact that people change classes and graduate, and to figure out how, I guess, have some maybe protocols in place, understand what the procedures would be to open up new chapters. So when a new school opens up or a new site opportunity comes up, that we kind of have maybe a manual that we could send people and say, first we put out flyers, and then we get applications, and we ask for this kind of time commitment from volunteer members, or we ask for this kind of financial commitment from, depending on where they are in school, or maybe a fundraising commitment, things like that, kind of to better understand not just what are the opportunities afforded to students by being a member of the organization, but also kind of what's expected for them in terms of the responsibilities to keep the larger organization going. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've started documenting some of that. We're working on documenting everything and policies and procedures, especially. And we have some of a start in our bylaws, but it definitely needs to be fleshed out. So it'd be great to have that solidified a bit more.
There's one chapter right now that has a project that it more or less manages on its own, which is the Rocky Point project. And the other chapters don't have as much. So the other chapters look a little more like they're just a couple people involved, and they help to advertise for our Haiti and Mexico trips, for instance. But they're not necessarily doing the things that we envisioned a chapter does, and the things that SCM group in particular is doing. So it seems like having a local project is what sets apart the really successful chapters from the ones that stumble. Now, that's also exceedingly difficult for a fledgling student group to pull off, especially if there's not already a following at a school that they would have enough connections, have enough faculty support or outside physician support in order to create, a local clinical rotation or health education or something. There's only so much that students can legally do on their own in terms of promoting health without practicing without a license. So it's kind of a catch-22 where they need something like that in order to become successful, and yet they need to have enough momentum in order to get a project like that started, which is quite labor intensive. We've had other attempts from other chapters at doing something like that, and we just haven't pulled it off. So it's not to say that it cannot be done, it's just it has to be a really sustained commitment from a solid team of people. Something else that we've been toying with is the idea of kind of creating two tiers of chapters. So one is kind of a student club a la NDI, where it's not actually a global health club. It's at least one representative student that serves to send people on the trips. Although that is really not in line with our mission and vision, which is to really be promoting global health within the naturopathic profession, or to be promoting global health within your community, promoting naturopathic medicine within your community and around the globe. If you're just sending people to Haiti, for instance, right. So it's part of the way there, but it's not really developing our students into global citizens, which is the ultimate goal of the chapters. We're kind of, at the same time, we do want to be available to other students and to have a student presence, however minimal, at a naturopathic school, at least to promote the opportunity of volunteering with us in Haiti or Mexico, to help fundraise, to make it more accessible. That does serve a function. It's just not what we consider a full chapter, what we've been considering a chapter. So we might end up doing kind of like a chapter, which is more like how SCM currently functions, and also kind of a lower tier club where we have a contact person, which is more for promotional purpose. What we're finding, which has been an unexpected consequence of SCM having the Rocky Point trip, and we discussed a little bit yesterday, is that many, many students, prospective naturopathic students who are coming into naturopathic school interested in global health, are pre-selecting to go to SCM because of the Rocky Point trip. So what we are seeing is that at the other schools, there's not as much representation of global health. Now there are, for example, Bridgeport is very strong with naturopathic medicine for global health, which is, they just changed their name. Carlos Cunningham's organization that focuses in Guatemala, and they have a really great community health worker focused program, and they're doing a lot of diabetes education and treatment. That's a great opportunity for students, and they're very, very closely linked with Bridgeport. I don't know if they're pursuing any or doing any local health education type stuff, but it seems like each school kind of does a little bit of something and maybe something else. Maybe they have a little bit of NMSA global health presence, although that is mostly at NCM as well. That's new since you've graduated.
The Naturopathic Medical Students Association.
Yeah, well, in terms of them they turned the public health track into the global health track, and so they have representatives at each of the schools. But at SCM, for instance, they will they'll have a global health week that they promote, but there's not much other interfacing that they do with the other organizations that do global health. It's kind of a limited position compared to what we're envisioning for chapters. So at some schools there are several of these groups, but they're only doing a small slice. So there's not a whole lot of global health promotion happening at the school, and education, training, language training, cultural competence training, etc. So
Are the chapters required to have a faculty advisor?
we do, yes.
Each chapter.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what happens, or is intended to happen, is when they start, they have one, but that person may or may not continue to be,
Yeah.
closely involved.
Who's the current one that I seen?
That was handed off from Dr. Geyer when she left. Was handed to kind of, it's become the medical director position of Rocky Point has been the same person. So that became Dr. Ethan McAllister and Michelle Retz after Austin, and then Dr. McAllister moved on to San Diego and Santa Monica. So basically Dr. Retz is the functioning faculty advisor right now.
Okay.
And before them it was Dr. Udell.
Right. Yeah.
A number of years, maybe since the founding.
Yeah.
So, we know, regarding San Diego, we know a few faculty members. I don't know exactly where, Genevieve, where you are. Sorry?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
We don't know where you are with getting a faculty advisor, but it is really, really helpful to get early on.
Okay.
Champion in the school who can help you navigate the administration and have contacts with local faculty because again, great, and you have a lot of energy, but having a doctor who has a license and
Yeah, definitely. There's one professor in particular that she does shifts at Operation Samahan, which is near the border, but it's in the U.S.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been communicating with her, but she hasn't committed to it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, she's the only one that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. Well, we can discuss that more later, but having a strong faculty presence early on can be really helpful.
Definitely. There needs to be a doctor. Yeah.
Yes. We're also open to other kind of community chapters and undergraduate chapters as well that don't have faculty, kind of starting up organically. So the faculty advisor, one of their she's connected at CNN. Supporting the and promoting naturopathic medicine. And it's mostly undergraduate.
Right.
Almost all undergraduate.
But it's potentially a source of new naturopathic students and student volunteers and members.
And actually, the previous president who founded that chapter, Amy Donati, is now at SCN.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
So regarding Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Right. So.
We don't know much about it. So.
I have some contacts there. There's Efrain Rodriguez. He went to National last year, like 20 years ago, and he established the Puerto Rican Naturopathic Association. And I went and did a rotation with him in 2006 before I finished school. And he helped to create the new school down there at Tudabo. I don't know what their accreditation status is. My guess is that they haven't been like CNN accredited. I don't really know.
I think they're a candidate.
I think they should be in place for 3 years before they can apply for accreditation.
Okay, and I don't know how long they've been running because when I was down there, it's part of a larger campus, already established campus, and so he was showing me like where the school would be, like it's part of this campus that's already here, but I don't know when they open their doors, when they first start taking students, but it's been 9 years, so I imagine they've had a couple of classes go through. And I just heard that there's an SENM grad that is teaching classes there. So I tried to get her to the meeting today, and she couldn't make it, but I'm going to have a phone call with her on Tuesday to see if it's something that she would be on board with.
Who's that?
Susie Maxey. She was a dentist before she became a naturopathic doctor, and she started maybe the class ahead of me or something, but we had like some classes overlapped. So so I got a hold of her, and I told her that we would update her based on what happened today, and I don't know her level of interest at all, but there are naturopathic doctors that are actively practicing in Puerto Rico. Most of them are in San Juan, and the school is less than an hour from San Juan. And I think the island would be ripe for opportunities where we could set up a part-time clinic, like Patch, but maybe just someone's regular clinic that they allow supervised students to work out of every other Saturday or one Saturday a month, just depending on what the possibilities are. So I could see it being something similar to what either we have in Rocky Point or here in Phoenix. But I would see the students that are at the school there providing the services. I mean, it's a flight to Puerto Rico is not cheap. So
or we need some physician help on the ground,
yeah.
not from outside.
Right.
It's
So
the best way to do it.
between then I know that there are some naturopathic doctors that are practicing and also teaching there. So my plan was to reach out to Dr. Rodriguez and find out who else might be interested to, first create a chapter there, and then once we've identified those kind of core group of people, to figure out what would be the next steps to getting a clinic going that would be staffed by the locals there. And then I'm sure that there could be an opportunity if someone wanted to do winter break in Puerto Rico. Not such a big deal if you're coming from Arizona, but if you're coming from Canadian College or Bridgeport or something, and it's great. There's a lot of benefits, I think, with it still being within the country. The students wouldn't need a passport to go there, but they still get somewhat of a third world experience, depending on the area. In the rural areas in particular, do a lot more third world than American, for sure.
How underserved is the population in general? Do you know much about that? Okay. I suppose it depends on the area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my sense was that, like, outside of the capital, there seems to be a fair amount of poverty.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously that's a good question. Is this a place that needs services since it's still like an American territory? And I haven't done any research on that.
Oh, that's fine.
We know we've had a handful of students and now some graduates who have volunteered with us in Rocky Point and in Haiti, who are either from Puerto Rico or have other connections there. Fernando and Maria and Christina, now at best year. So, and each of them has more or less, said that there's a possibility of an NWB presence there, but what exactly that looks like, we haven't completely committed to, but I think maybe it's a good time to start that conversation again.
Yeah.
Because they know way, way more about it. I mean, they're from there, so there's so much more that they could tell us and even sort of head the project and having us try to initiate.
What's a good way to stay on the same page with interested parties? Like, like a Facebook group or
We could do that.
I mean,
You can start
basically-
with like just some introductory emails, and then yeah, we can just. I don't know that I think Maria's not on Facebook.
Yeah.
I didn't see it as a chat. But Christina and Fernando on her.
or what would be an alternate?
Well, just in terms of starting this, I think that it would be just a matter of investigating what's possible and who might be interested, and so connecting all those people. Facebook is a great option, I think, for let's have a conversation, or email each other or whatever, and then if it starts to seem like something is forming, then we can kind of navigate that path as it comes up.
Sure.
But yeah, maybe we can just put the call out. Anyone with ties to Puerto Rico who might be interested in talking about this, chapter clinic possibility.
Yeah, I think the more people we can get on board, figure out who has contacts where,
Yeah.
and with the right people, make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, just in my eye. Yeah. So, are you planning on going to Puerto Rico? Is that?
So I was gonna go this fall. It's not gonna happen anymore. I have a trip and schedule work trips and I can't go. Maybe like back to back. I'm like, no, I have to go to Paris for business. So, my hope is that I'll be down there for a year.
Okay.
But it's gonna be a while. And it's like 2020 is when I'm like,
Okay.
so, I'm kind of thinking that over the next, I don't know how long it takes to get something solidified. I can't go any sooner than 2020 to spend time there.
Sure.
But yeah, I was in Mexico in February and I just tried to think a lot and I was like, why don't we have a chapter in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful if, as you are like putting together policies and procedures to facilitate getting that to whoever's interested in Puerto Rico so that they're not starting from reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, for sure.
For a while.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
have bylaws and we have documents that we send
Mhm.
students when they're interested in starting. It's just not completely step by step, and some of it is there's like steps required before we even do start sending information,
Mhm.
because it's a significant investment in time, and resources on our part to make it happen. And sometimes there's just one student who's kind of interested in a trip, and then we kind of show them this whole thing, like, oh, that's not what I wanted. I just wanted to come to
Too much.
A1.
Yeah.
So we, like the people in San Diego I've seen, we kind of start by filling out, seeing if there's sufficient interest. People don't really want to jump on board, and then it kind of goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some kind of minimum requirements that we need for chapters to start, and we give them a set of bylaws to use as a starting point. They'll have to adopt their bylaws. We'll have to make sure that they're okay with us and instead of our lines of communication.
How many people do you need to have a chapter?
We want at least 3. And how they set up their own hierarchy is kind of up to them. But we need one person that we really can contact, who can at least get into contact with the others and make sure that the message is spread if we have to say something. If there's a different person for each job, it can get really hairy with, we don't know where to send this.
Right.
So
So you have like a president or some kind of leader
Right.
at the chapter level that
Somebody
they can
can
disseminate information.
Yep.
Right.
So Best Year California is going a little more solitary and
Now this is turning to
Yeah, so at least for the moment, that's how we're doing it. Just because it's summertime, and a lot of the incoming second years, as well as the incoming first years, are not on campus at the moment. So at the moment, we have an interim board of 6 people, but at the end of fall quarter, we're going to have proper elections with a more defined, student body.
How many members do you have?
Well, on our listserv, we have probably around 25. But on a weekly basis, there is 5 to 6 people at the meetings. But that said, there's a lot of interested people who are away for the summer. All those incoming second years. So yeah, it's gonna we're gonna have a better gauge on how the chapter's gonna look in the fall when everyone's back on campus, and at that point, we're gonna start having the regular meetings. That's also when we're gonna have our chapter finalized through the Student Government Association, and we're gonna have elections at the end of fall after we have a few several meetings with a solid group of people attending. Yeah.
At all? Like,
Sorry, I can't hear you when I'm talking for some reason.
oh no, that's okay. I was just saying it's so great that it's moving forward. I'm happy about that.
It is moving forward with patience,
So, I mean, they really just, this is how they go. Are like, it works in this area, and we think, okay, well, let's do it for this other area, and that's it can't work because there are different dynamics. It's a different school, it's a different community. It's a different, all right, yeah, let's see what happens, and then we'll step by step.
Definitely, we're allowing it to take shape on its own. Yeah, but there's definitely solid interest. It's just a matter of getting it organized, and we're in a process of doing that. This summer is mostly planning for the fall, so that we can have the next academic year planned out.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And what we found is ultimately when the demand comes from let's see what's going on at Bridgeport.
You're not, rather than
That's
posing
not really
yourself.
Yeah. We're not invited, for one thing. If there's a group of students though that's really interested, like what happened with San Diego, they want to come to Rocky Point, kind of feel it out, see how SCNM chapter operates, see if it's worthwhile, if it's something that the presence they want at San Diego, then that's exactly what happened. So, if there are students in Puerto Rico that are really interested, I want to talk to them about what's currently going on, because we don't want to reinvent the wheel, we don't want to step on other organizations' toes. Mm-hmm. But if they're liking the way that we run things, and that's what they want, then it totally makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense that there has to be an interest there. And I wonder just how connected they are to things that are going on at the other naturopathic colleges in the States, because I think a lot of people are not aware that they are there, and they might be a little bit isolated or feel a little bit isolated from what's going on here in continental U.S.
Mm-hmm.
in Canada.
And there's actually a student on the SCM board who is working on building a bridge in Puerto Rico as well.
It'd be a long
frankly
bridge.
couldn't make it today, but yeah.
A metaphorical.
Spiritual bridge.
Got you. A connection. That's great. Nice. That's awesome.
So yeah, I've been meaning to. So many other things to do, but I've been meaning to talk to him as well. What he's been coming up with since he came in January.
Is he from Puerto Rico?
I actually don't know. I've only met him once.
Who is it?
Guillermo.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where he's from.
But he seemed to know some of the docs there, and interested in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what are our next steps at this point?
I think an email out to the people we know that are connected with the school, or at least just to Puerto Rico in general, we think we're not specifically connected with people. Would be a good start just to gauge interest. How much do you want to do with this?
That's a good
what
question.
Is your commitment?
I'm the ideas woman here.
Do you want to kind of take the lead on communicating with them, or?
I can.
I'm just curious.
Right. Yeah, what I was thinking is, we could kind of put together an email. I could draft an email, run it by you guys, and it can be, it's all of us. I don't know, I don't have a position in NWB right now, honorary position.
Director of Puerto Rico.
No.
The only fluent Spanish speaker.
Right,
In
some
global,
kind of a emeritus position.
Emeritus.
Yeah, board member emeritus.
Founder.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could put together an email and then, we could kind of pool together the names and emails of our contacts. And send out that first email, I guess. That'd be a good first step. And then, we may also want to ask people in that email how they want to keep in touch. What's a good way to facilitate that communication, whether it be Facebook, or if we would do a Google Hangout meeting down the line, or try to figure out who's interested, and then how we can keep in touch, what would be the next step, and maybe start to look at meeting with more of the interested individuals in a month or two. I would say September. I know a lot of people in the summer, they're not in their regular routine, myself included. Schools are not in session necessarily. People are studying for boards right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe put together an email to be sent out in, I don't know, late August, maybe even. Sure. Like I don't want to send out an email sooner than people are really ready to respond to it or think about what's happening.
Some kind of regular contact.
Much how it's in America, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Then we've been contacts of people that might be interested in.
Remember the little weird things?
Yeah.
Or just,
Uh-huh. Are they
I
interested?
think in that,
There,
just
yeah.
connected with, right now, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so just as far as the timeline goes, Sean will be in Haiti in mid-August till early to mid-September probably.
Okay.
And he gets emails and things there, but
But
still be
I mean, we could wait until late September.
either way.
That would actually be perfect for our campus because we don't start till the last week of September, like our fall quarter.
What kind of interests or contacts, do you have anybody in mind at your campus that might,
So I would say,
Sorry, what?
do you have any ideas of people on your campus that might have contacts in Puerto Rico, or
You mean like an update about what's happening in Puerto Rico, like with the clinic there?
and actually taking action and playing a part in
I'm gonna say
something happen over there?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I could definitely suggest it to our board if there's anyone interested in there, because there are a few students who do have experience in global health who want an outlet for that, and I can put them in touch with you.
Okay.
Sure, that's just quick.
Yeah.
So, early December, the Labor Day weekend. I think that becomes like the
Yeah.
official end of summer. People
Start
are getting
work.
back to work, back to
Yeah.
schedule. Okay.
Okay, cool. Do you use ND or NMD?
ND.
NWB's in Arizona.
It is.
Genevieve, what's your last name?
Price.
It's Price?
Yep. Sorry, Price. Price.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Hell yeah, still live there for 2 months. I have written just some very rough notes of what we've kind of talked about today on a little Google document, so I'll send that out to everybody. Genevieve, do you have a Gmail?
A Gmail. Well, my Bastier is a Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah, it has Google Docs on it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
This was like a relay service or something.
So is that what G Price?
I already saw that. Yeah.
Oh, and on a side note, I wanted to mention that I'm going on a trip with a few students at the beginning of September to India, and we're working at a clinic there. And I'm just going to gauge on whether the doctors are interested in having more student volunteers.
That's neat. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'm very. It's a community clinic in Calcutta, and it uses homeopathy as a standalone treatment.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see how it is
Very cool.
and what their capacity is for students. Sorry, how many students? Sorry, it's really hard to hear. Four students are going.
That's great.
Yeah.
How long is the trip?
We're gonna be in Calcutta for 2 weeks, and then we're spending another half a week in Varanasi, which is a holy city, and we're gonna stay at an ashram for a few days. But we're gonna spend 2 full weeks in the clinic, and that's gonna be literally from around from noon to 7 p.m. every day, and then on certain nights there's gonna be night shifts where we're gonna they have a night clinic as well as home visits.
That sounds really exciting. That's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the experience, and I've had a special interest in India for several years, so it's gonna be good, and I'll definitely update you all on that, and I'll definitely have a brown bag lunch with the other 3 students when we get back.
When is that?
The brown bag lunch, I haven't set it up yet, but it's gonna be like a few weeks after we return and full quarter starts, so sometime in mid-October.
So the trip is in September.
Yeah, the trip is from September, so we're gonna start September 7th on a Monday, and we're gonna be there till what is it? September 19th. Yeah.
There'll also be a Labor Day Rocky Point trip as well.
Right, the Labor Day. I have been advertising that to students.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think the sign up, as soon as they get all the details figured out, they'll sign up for the
Yeah, there were actually a few students, including myself, that signed up for the last Rocky Point trip, but I assume they didn't have any remaining slots available. But students are gonna continue to apply for Rocky Point at least until we have our own sites.
I guess you signed up after we closed that opening. So are you, or actually we had closed the application process. Are you all getting the emails right away? That I just wonder if there's a gap there.
Is that it?
The emails. So the emails. I haven't been getting emails about any Rocky Point trips, but I know the link on the SCNM NWB page where you can apply, and you can. There's like a scroll down for whatever date the trip is, and I just know that link.
Okay.
And that's what I've been sending to students.
I think we should ask them to put you all on their email list.
That would be great because I have been in touch with the trip coordinator there, and they do let me know when a trip is coming when I contact them, but it hasn't been a regular thing that like a yeah. I don't think I'm on the email list.
Yeah, why don't, this is a suggestion. If you can collect a list of emails of people who are interested in knowing that information and then just submit to their coordinator.
Okay, I will. That's.
Because I want to make sure you all know about it. Or out of the loop of that process. That.
Okay, great. I'll get in touch with the trip coordinator and send an email list.
Great.
That's a good idea.
Thank you for our meeting today. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Genevieve. And Xenia,
And Xenia.
if you're listening.
Is Xenia listening on Periscope or? Oh, she's on
Just
there.
unmuted.
Oh.
But
Hello.
we can't hear
Can you hear me?
I don't know. I'm getting a lot of feedback. I know that Genevieve said she was at a coffee shop. Can you guys hear me?
Genevieve, can you mute yourself for a second, please? Okay, I think she did. Is that better for you?
Well, anyway.
Okay.
Alright. Well, we'll catch up via email, I guess.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for coming. Sorry you missed out on the snacks.
They were amazing. I brought carrots.
I've seen them people too.
Yeah.
They didn't show up. All right.
Okay,
So we'll email next steps, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll email you.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You guys drink coffee?
Would you like some? Okay, yeah.
I was at SCNM this morning and I didn't know that Nourish wasn't going to be open.
Oh, I know.